Hi everyone, welcome to Otaku Talk. It's me, your boy, your host, OD, and today we'll be reviewing and analyzing chapter 1116 of One Piece. If this is your first time on my channel, or you've been here before but haven't done so already, would greatly appreciate it if you could like, share, and subscribe. Would mean the absolute world to me. Anyway, without further ado, let's get into this review. Alright guys, 1116 of One Piece Conflict. Awesome chapter, but once again, an uneventful chapter. For those of you that are new to my channel, I want to make something abundantly clear. Obviously, there are very, very important minor things that happened in this chapter. Obviously, there are this thing is going to blow out of proportion completely, but at the end of the day, these are somewhat stall chapters. These are somewhat exposition chapters, and honestly, not even really great exposition chapters, because once we got the flooding reveal, nothing else we've received has really given us any sort of information that we were unaware of. Honestly, it kind of feels like these chapters are more so important to the inhabitants of the One Piece world than to the reader, because honestly, we know about 80% of this. The only thing that Vegapunk really told us about was the fact that there was a ancient civilization that is completely underwater right now, to which, once I get what I said in my last review, we kind of had an inkling of a clue about that. Me personally, I knew that, or I at least assumed that the ancient kingdom was underwater, but the only deviation that I kind of got from the clarification from Vegapunk was that, like, the entirety of it spans the entirety of the world. I didn't think that. I thought it was going to be like in one spot. I thought it was going to be in one spot. So I didn't know, like, that's actually insane that it's the entirety of the world. Or maybe it still might be just a few places, not the entirety of the world. We don't know, right? But I just wanted to just disclaimer say that, because I do understand the series. I do love the series. I'm not saying that the chapter is bad. What I am saying is what I say almost, monthly at this point. I hate reading One Piece weekly. It is literally my favorite shonen of all time. I think it's one of the greatest literary works of fiction of all time, but it sucks weekly. I think binge reading it in arcs is the way it's intended to, and broken record time, I think when all is said and done, it's going to go down as one of the greatest pieces of fiction in history, and its value will increase because once you know the entire story and you can go back to the beginning and read through again with context, it's going to be a phenomenal read, and you're going to actually see the genius of Oda. Anyway, we have a little cover story with our homie Yamato. She is collecting dumplings and medicine from Atsuru. So that's really interesting. This is a cool cover story, but I don't really know where this is going. I don't really know what's happening with it. We know that she's going on this journey like Odin did all around Wano. So I'm wondering what all this is going to culminate in. I just feel like this is too, I don't want to say random, but let's just say random. This is too random for Oda to be focusing on without there being some kind of, drop moment, right? So we have Vegapunk once again talking to everyone via Denden Mushi. We see, a silhouette of Imu, which, by the way, calling it now, Imu has to be some form of like either ancient human or like homunculus. I want to say homunculus. I almost want to say automaton, but I have a feeling it's going to be something along that term. Around that root. I wouldn't even be surprised if he doesn't even have like a body. Maybe something has to do with the crown. I have no clue. I think we're waiting for like a really big subversion of expectations with Imu. But Imu is clearly mad, looking at a picture of Nefertari Lily, and right after that part, we also see missing signs of Vivi. Luckily, she's with Big News Morgan, so we know she's safe. Unfortunately, her stewards and stuff have no clue where she is, so they're freaking out, they're crying. And also, this is all happening simultaneously while, I was about to say crocodile, not crocodile, but her father Cobra, while they're having a funeral for him. So this is honestly a really bad day for Alabasta, because while at the same time they're having a funeral for their fallen monarch, the princess, his only daughter, is missing, and they're also getting news about the impending like apocalypse of the world. So not a good time to be in Alabasta. So Vegapunk goes on to talk about how he is the one that created the current mother flame that they are using on this island, and how a piece of it has gone missing. And so two really important things come of this. The first thing is, I was really happy he did this. He had his Oppenheimer moment where he basically gets on his knees and begs for forgiveness and acknowledges the fact that, like, hey, I played a role in this. I didn't, press the button. I didn't press the button on the weapon. I didn't decide where the weapon goes. I didn't play any part in that. But by the sheer fact that I created this thing, it led to this thing. Some portion of blame rests on me. And I'm honestly very happy to see that from Vegapunk. Don't get me wrong, I think Vegapunk is a great dude. He's a swell guy. But one thing that has annoyed me since his introduction is just how naive he's been. Part of his character has just been his excessive naivete, right? He's just constantly, just doing all these things for the sake of science without thinking much of the ramifications of it. I would have liked it if he was someone kind of like Tom, where you have with Tom understands that, yeah, his creations can be used for bad, but at the end of the day, that's not their intended purpose. That's not what they were made for. Yeah, they can be used for that purpose, but you have to love your children nonetheless, no matter what they are. And honestly, I'm starting to think, like, even though he says that with, inorganic, non-living beings, I think maybe Oda is going to go somewhere with it in terms of the fact that, like, okay, maybe some of these humans, I don't know why, I can't get this out of my head, but I just feel like just with all the like genetic experimentation, the clones and all the species in the One Piece world, I think one major massive reveal has to be that the ancient civilization was phenomenal at eugenics. So think about like Superman, for example, and how they changed the story a lot, but the one I'm gonna go with in this regard is how, like, basically all the Kryptonians are made from eugenics. However, Clark Kal-El, he was actually conceived from love, which is a fancy way to say his parents fucked and they had him the natural way, right? So that's one of the double entendres when it comes to like the last son of Krypton. Like he's the last actual like biological born son of Krypton, no eugenics, blah, blah, et cetera, right? And so I'm thinking that obviously this ancient civilization probably had something to the effect or means of doing that. And, we find out that, giants are super important. There were ancient giants and all these different species and stuff. And I'm wondering if maybe there was a time where they could create anything. Forget the giants, anything. And, every species, every race has like a divine purpose, a divine plan. Somehow, how they help shape the ecosystem and, help this world go. All right. The other important thing about, Vegapunk talking about the flame being stolen is we find out that it was York. Now York is freaking out because she was like, how does he know that I stole it? He's not a good actor. When I revealed that I was the traitor, he seemed legitimately shocked. Also, they answer a question that Oda answers a question that we've had for a really long time. If York has been so evil for so long and they daily or however long upload their consciousness and their thoughts to the Punk records, how were they not able to, divulge her intentions? And so it turns out that there is a way for her to avoid syncing, to avoid uploading her information, which honestly all of us guessed, but it's always super nice to get clarification. One of my biggest pet peeves is when all the fans have a shared headcanon and they think it's acceptable because we have the shared headcanon for there not to be an in-story canon explanation. And I think that's stupid. No, the headcanon is supposed to carry us over, but then eventually there needs to come a time where Oda clarifies. And so I'm very happy that he did clarify, in fact, that that she has the ability, there is a way to avoid the uploading her memory and stuff like that. basically, while she's, racking her brain trying to figure out, like, if Vegapunk knew it was her or when he found out the flame was stolen, this, that, the other, she has a, like, eureka moment where she realizes, I know where the Denden Mushi is. And she immediately conveys it to the Gorosei and lets them know that it's in the Fabriophage or whatever, and that it's being protected by the Iron Giant. So, me, like many other people, and this wasn't my original thought, I read a comment and I was like, that's actually really smart, that makes a lot of sense. When we first meet Vegapunk, he is halfway teleported inside the Iron Giant. And so, because of that, the popular theory was the Denden Mushi was inside the Iron Giant. My second favorite theory was that it's off island with Dragon, and that's part of what he was talking to Dragon about beforehand, right? And so for it to be in the Fabriophage, I had no clue. Now, to be honest, I don't think York knows either. I think she thinks it's in the Fabriophage, but it's actually in the Iron Giant. I think the main theory is actually going to turn out to be correct, but that is what's happening right now, and they are going to go fight this Iron Giant. And I am very excited for this because we have no clue how strong this Iron Giant is. What we do know is none of these fucking Vice Admirals have been able to fucking lay a hand on it to damage it in any way. It's been walking through fire. It's been taking numerous attacks, all of which have yielded no success for the Marines. So I'm wondering, now that we get the big hitters, now that we have the actual Gorosei going after this, how this Iron Giant is going to stack up. I'm also wondering if it has some kind of personality, if it is able to talk, if Vegapunk has been communicating with it, how if the Iron Giant is protecting this snail, is it doing it out of instinct? Does it have a deal with Vegapunk? Did Vegapunk program it? So that's also something that I think slipped through the cracks that people aren't really thinking about, is are we going to get more background, more information from this Iron Giant? Maybe even if the Gorosei do find the Denden Mushi and the transmission is cut off, maybe we can fill in the rest of the exposition that's important for us, the reader, via this Iron Giant. Who the hell knows? Now, I do think something is really interesting about how Vegapunk talks about how the ancient weapons have been raising the sea level, and he, for the life of him, can't understand why Joy Boy, who seems through his accounts to be a really good person, would want these ancient weapons to exist. And once again, we got to go back to Tom. Love my boy Tom. I truly do not think that these ancient weapons were meant to cause this flood. Like, I think it's an unfortunate side effect or, ramification of the weapons being used in the way that they are being used. But I think that they have some entirely, completely insular, just completely different use. Like, there is some kind, I cannot conceive of right now, but they have some random, crazy other use that they weren't being used for, that Joy Boy and other people wanted it used for, but these other people were using it for the wrong thing, and it's causing the flood. And Joy Boy knows that, like, no, if you use it this way, it can be good, but obviously if you use it this way, it's going bad. And so Vegapunk's sticking to his whole, I can't really say who's good or bad. I like this. I like the idea of maybe Imu being a little bit more gray than we anticipated, not being this complete big bad. I don't think all villains have to be super deep. I kind of hate that we're in this era where, especially when you think of MCU, where every single villain has to be super deep. I'm cool with generic, one-dimensional villains that are like, I'm evil for no reason, or I'm evil just because, like, it feels good. Like, those are pretty nice from time to time. But I do like the idea of this being a, Lord Genome type situation where Imu is just taking the brunt, taking the pressures of the world and putting them on his back because they know something that we don't, and they feel that they are the only one that can bear this cross for humanity. Who the hell knows, right? We don't even know if the celestial dragons have any clue what's going on. A lot of them seem surprised. Like last chapter, we had most of them being like, screw them, kill them. But then we had the one celestial dragon that was like, huh? Flood? What? Ancient weapons? So, like, it's very clear that there is some secret going on. And we have seen that with enough, let's call it catalysts, that the celestial dragons can change. They do have the capacity to change. We've seen it with Newsguard. We've seen it with Doflamingo. Well, Corazon, not Corazon. Sorry, not Doflamingo, but you get the point, right? And I'm wondering if at some point in time, if the, celestial dragons, aka the Allied Kingdoms, were actually really chill. We're really cool people, and just centuries of just debauchery, getting what they want, placating them, just made them who they are now. And I think Imu once again did that on purpose, right? Because if you don't, you gotta give them this life of lavish, right? You make it so that they feel entitled. You make them feel like gods. You make them feel above everyone else. And so, they have no desire to leave, which was, once again, you saw what happened when the Doflamingo family left. Everyone flipped out. Everyone was like, blah, blah, blah. All right, you can never come back. They stripped you of your rights. They don't help you with shit. It is done, right? Because they want you to stay here. They want you to be obedient. And so it's like, they want to do everything in their power to keep you there. They're going to keep you dumb and docile, but you're not going to think you're dumb and docile. You're going to think you're the fucking shit. You're going to think you run the world. You're going to keep collecting these tithes, having all these slaves, having all these wives to keep you distracted. But distracted from what? And that's what we're going to get to, right? And I'm wondering if at the end of this series, I never once in my life thought the Celestial Dragons would have any significant role in this story. I was just kind of hoping there would be a moment at the end of the series where a member of the Grand Fleet or something just went and murked them all or hit them all, or we just saw celestial dragons getting beat up left and right by slaves and revolutionaries and all that stuff. But I think it would be a lot more wholesome and a lot more just better for the narrative in general if there is a shift, right? If there is a schism between them and some of them are hell no, we're gonna join these guys. And once again, I think there was false pretenses, right? There's 20 swords from 20 kingdoms placed in front of that throne. So there was some idea, at least back in the past, that hey, we're really going to do this right. We're not going to have one dictator. We're going to share. And Imu was like, yeah, sure. Okay, whatever you say. Wink, wink, nod, nod. Anyway, we get a lot of reactions from other people. I'm going to keep it simple. We have the One Punch King. You remember the guy who could charge up? He just found out about Leloucia. I guess it was covered up in the news, so he has someone go and check to see if that's true. We have the milkmaid that met Ace, wondering why her place was sunk. We have Akainu absolutely losing his shit. Last chapter, I couldn't tell if he knew what was going on or didn't care. Now he seems livid. And what else? We have Crocus and Rylai show up because of something that Vegapunk says. And I did not honestly appreciate what Vegapunk did here. So basically he says there's a group of people that have known about this for a long time. And I think, oh shit, he about to call out the Marines. He about to call out the Gorosei. He's about to call out Imu. But no, he takes shots at the Roger Pirates. And I was honestly shocked by that, because first of all, how do you know that they know? Yeah, they got to Laugh Tale. Yeah, they got to the final island. But how do you know that information was there? That information is what they discovered, right? And second of all, how dare you I don't want to admonish them, chastise them for having this information, not doing anything with it. First of all, they're not fucking scientists. They're not fucking genius, or at least if there were any, I don't know who they are. But what are they supposed to do? They're just random pirates that are traveling, journeying. And second of all, how long have you had this information? Well, I guess not too recently, but the fact remains that he's had this information for a long time. He didn't just put it out in the world. And in fact, this message is only getting out because he died. Now, to be fair, I know it's a little bit unfair. Maybe if he did escape with the Straw Hats, he would have done this in person, gotten to a safe place, or maybe worked to figure out how to solve the flooding, maybe worked on some super evaporation machine. I don't know. But I don't know. It seems a little bit like pointing fingers, passing the buck at the Roger Pirates, and that felt a little bit weird to me. But whatever. I digress. Honestly, this whole Vegapunk dying thing is super weird to me also. It just doesn't make sense. You're a genius. You have to have, come on, everyone knows about backups, right? You got cloning technology on lock. You got organism. You got, you can grow organs. I just and like I don't you don't even have your brain right now. So I just don't understand why he can't upload himself to a different body or there's another Vegapunk body or something or so I don't know. If Oda decides to kill Vegapunk and that's it and maybe one of the satellites lives, whatever, fine, I guess. But honestly, it just doesn't make sense to me personally for him to actually end up dying here, especially if he feels as bad as he feels about this whole situation. He should try to stay alive to like fix it, you know what I mean? But whatever, I digress. And so we end off this chapter with this panel of Riley with his wife Shaki at the bar. Shaki is handling some trash. I don't know if it's a situation where he was acting rowdy and Shaki took it upon herself to, calm him down, or if, Riley got so drunk he fucked this dude up and now Shaki has to take out the trash. But, she mentions that, oh, I've never seen you this drunk before. You've been turning up. And, I feel like maybe this is something that is weighing on Riley's head. Riley is one of the first people, or only people if I can remember. I forget if Crocus offered, but Riley does offer to tell Luffy, where the One Piece is, what it is, where they found, he does ask him if he wants the information, and Luffy says no. And so to me, I didn't think about it then much because it was like, haha, funny. But now that I think about it, maybe he's wanted to get this off his chest for so long, and when he met Luffy, he felt like this was his opportunity. And now that Vegapunk is calling him out and he's drinking, once again he maybe once again felt compelled to say something. But maybe Roger, maybe the rest of the crew, maybe Roger made an order and said, no, you're not going to tell people about this. And despite some of the crew being like, that's fucked up, we want to be able to tell people about this, they're like, you're our captain, we're going to obey you. And as the right hand of his captain, he decided, okay, yeah, I'm going to fall in line and I'm going to listen. I don't like it, but I'm going to do it because I respect this man. Also, let's keep it a buck. What would have happened if they did say it? One of two things. People would have laughed their ass off like they're doing in so many places, like Mocktown, Jaya, and what have you, and not believe them. At least Vegapunk has some, credentials as a scientist. So he has some credibility there, but and people are still laughing at him, so it would have been that way. And the other half would have been mass hysteria, mass panic, and what does that do? Causes nothing. You see every movie where there's some kind of apocalypse coming or something coming, you try to avoid telling the masses for as long as possible because all hell breaks out, all chaos breaks out. There's looting, robbing, raping, murder, everything happens. So I kind of understand if that is the angle that the Rogers Pirates were looking at it from, where they were coming from. But then we still get back to the heart of the matter, which is when they saw what they saw, they laughed. And that is the most confusing thing. Did they laugh because it was funny? Did they laugh because they were helpless? Did they laugh because their emotions were, because what they were seeing was just so inconceivable? Their brains honestly just smashed, shattered there? Who knows, right? We talked about this a couple chapters ago. The only members of the Rogers Pirates that are alive that we see have some kind of job or something going on with being able to live underwater. Crocus with, mechanizing Laboon and being able to live inside Laboon. And then you have Riley who became a ship coder, and so he can make ships able to submerge underwater and stuff like that. And I'm wondering where the rest of the Roger Pirates are. I'm wondering if maybe, one really important thing that we saw in One Piece way earlier on that we don't see anymore are salvagers, right? We had that one time in Jaya where we had the salvagers and no one really salvages or does anything like that anymore. And so I'm wondering if maybe a bunch of the other Roger Pirates became salvagers. Maybe they're under there right now. Maybe they were somewhat smart. Someone hooked them up, and maybe they're just trying to explore the ruins or something. I don't know. There was that one cover story where we had that one pirate. Everyone thought it was Shiki. So or if it wasn't Shiki, it was Scopper Gabon. So maybe that's going on. Who knows? But there's just so much mystery right now going on in One Piece that I'm excited for when it all gets revealed. Also, not the biggest deal in the world, but I did forget to talk about the Stussy scene, and I would be kind of remiss not to mention it. So in this scene, Stussy talks to why did I forget his name? I wanted to say Eureka. Edison, there we go. Talks to Edison about letting Kaku out potentially, and Edison is like, that's cool with it, and sorry for, not thinking about the fact that you consider this person a friend. So once again, we're seeing clones and, artificial humans having feelings and wills of their own. She doesn't know what she wants to do. She thought her life was serving Vegapunk, and now that Vegapunk is dying potentially and all the satellites are going to be gone, she's not going to have anyone to serve, and she's going to have to live her own life in her own free will. So I'm very curious where that's going to go. I'm very curious if her and Kaku are going to escape together. Maybe they'll potentially couple up. Will he use his shipwright skills and start his own shipwright, especially with the world flooding? So there's definitely a lot going on there, and I think more than meets the eye. Also, I didn't mention Sengoku freaking out and devouring all those biscuits. Yeah, he's freaking out. I think it's very obvious that he knew about this. So I'm wondering, once again, why he kept things under wraps, why he was okay with serving the Gorosei knowing this information. I'm wondering if Garp knew this information as well. I feel like no. I feel like when it comes down to it, Sengoku is more duty bound than Garp. And just like how he held him back at the, at Marineford and all the other times he's held Garp back or done things that Garp wouldn't, I think this is another indication of just why he became, fleet commander and not Garp. But yeah, I guess that's all I really want to talk about right now. I forgot to mention this one panel of the Sandworm Gorosei devouring a bunch of the CP agents. Now, I'm not sure if he's doing this on purpose to kill them because, hey, they know too much. But then again, the whole world knows too much. The cat's kind of out of the bag right now, so this kind of seems superfluous. So I'm kind of going with the theory I saw someone else say where there's probably a way that he can store them inside him and release them later. Because I think that's the same room where a bunch of the Seraphim are, so that would make sense. Other than that, Riley on the table, the thrill is theirs to seek now, right, Roger? So for whatever reason, it goes back to kind of the premise of One Piece where it's seek out adventure, find the truth for yourself. When Luffy traveled, he was always all about am I a good guy or a bad guy? Tell me, find out for yourself. Tell me yourself, find out for yourself. And so I think it's one of those things where it's the world's going to have to find out for themselves. Luffy's going to have to find out for themselves. Who's right, who's wrong. Maybe it's a mix of both. Maybe it's neither. We don't know. But this is what Oda wants us thinking about. This is I think at the end of the day, One Piece, besides it's been a story about life. Any aspect of life from war, rape, just greed, just what have you, has been showcased in One Piece. And I've always felt that at the end of the day, the greatest thing was going to be order versus chaos, right? Lawfulness versus anarchy, disorder and whatnot. And I've always gone Oda, what are you trying to tell us? Oda, what is your overall message? And this is the part we're finally getting to where we're going to find out that overall message. And I do think it's going to be some form of balance is needed, but people get to live their lives freely, but they can't impose on the wills of others. So there's a lot going on here. I'm going to leave it here for now because I'm starting to ramble, starting to go on a tangent, but really interesting chapter. I just can't wait till we get more going on and we can get through this. Anyway, thank you guys for tuning in. It's me, your boy, your host, OD. This has been Otaku Talk. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe, and take care. Peace. Have a great weekend.